how are you, my man?
Man, just surviving like everybody else. I got my weed hat on, and
I got this hat. I'll put this on and match you up.
I know
Man.
that's because my hair is just
Beautiful.
all over.
It's
Wait, I'm gonna change. Hold on, this is the one I usually use because it freaks people out a little bit. But my doppelganger,
okay.
Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
But if I put the hat on, it won't do that. See?
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
You look like $1,000,000 as always, my man. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Big John. Yeah.
Ripped.
You are shredded.
I'm actually getting in really good shape because although I haven't been able to do my powerlifting,
Okay.
I have been back to running, which I almost stopped completely.
Okay.
So now I'm just doing 2 miles, and then I'm doing these 100-yard sprints that I do.
Cool.
I do like 5 of them. And I've been doing a ton of pull-ups, push-ups. I have one of those tracking wheels for your abs. I love that stuff. First
I like
2 days I did it, I thought I was going to rip an abdominal. But then once my body got used to it, and man, was I sore the next day. Like,
oh yeah, even your back. My forearms get destroyed with the wheel. I don't know what that is. And even my, obviously my back and shoulders, my traps even get rocked.
All my obliques were on fire the next day. I literally couldn't get up from my bed.
You rolled.
I was like, oh
my
hurts.
goodness, man.
But I did go. I have this funny story. So
tell me.
I'm in Target, or Target, as I like to say.
Yeah, me too.
And looking for any kind of dumbbells I could find. And they're like, no chance. And I asked this attendant, he's like, well, you got to get in at like 8 a.m. in the morning. You got to be online at 6 a.m. Because if we have any, they're gone in 10 minutes.
Right.
And I'm like, screw that. I'm not going to do it. And so this lady walks up to me and she goes, are you looking for weights? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I got this friend, and I'm going to give you his Instagram, and you write him on Instagram and tell him what you're looking for, and he's got everything. And I'm like, this is just odd. So I go on Instagram, and it's kind of a weird name. I forget the names, like, Steve is an idiot or something like that.
Right.
And I message this guy, and he messages me right back, and he's like, here, call me. So I call him. It's like a drug deal. He goes, all right. I'm going to be at the Chevron station at 4 o'clock in a black Pathfinder. Meet me at the electric plug-ins where they put the cars on Westwood Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard.
Right.
Well, normally from Studio City, that's like, oh, shit, I got to drive over there. Took me 12 minutes to get there.
I was going to say, you got no problems anymore in L.A.
No, took me 12 minutes to get there on the 101 and the 405.
You just forget because you're programmed to think hours.
Yeah. And I get there, I got cash, I go, he has these adjustable 40-pound dumbbells.
Yeah.
So, you can bring it down to 15 pounds or bring it up to 4. Actually, you can go higher than that if you are looking for one dumbbell. You can combine the heavy weights on one and actually go up to like 60.
Right.
So that's good for like kettlebell stuff.
Sure.
So I bought it for $250, which came out to like $325 a pound on a weight. Whatever. I probably got ripped off, but
no, you got what you wanted too, man. That's going to go such a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything I think you spend on fitness, I think it's amazing. No matter what. I mean, a lot of times people do get ripped off. They buy equipment that gets used, blah, blah, blah. But at least you have it there at your it's accessible. And you get to use it, right? You're going to get your money out of that, my friend. It's not like a meal. You go out for an hour and a half and you spend $200, right? I'm just saying. So.
No. And by the way, like there's no way he could rip me off. It's like weights are weights. Like
exactly.
They were great, actually. They're really good. I love the grips on them because the grips are smaller. I haven't seen dumbbell where the grips are smaller.
Yep.
And because you can grip it stronger.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about it.
I like smaller. It's kind of an old school thing. They were like either they were very small when we were younger, or then very big. Remember, they were very fat. There wasn't almost a middle at times. Certain
Right.
gyms.
I'm just talking about the grip part.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's like when
And
I was younger, remember they were real narrow, or then they got too fat. Depending on what gym you worked out, it was very
yeah,
interesting.
I know. It's kind of like pull-up bars to me. Some of them
Exactly.
are real fat. I don't like the fat ones.
Me neither.
Yeah, the thinner they are, the easier they're to
For
do.
sure.
I do my pull-ups on the back of a staircase in my condo,
Yeah,
you know, underneath the staircase.
yeah,
And I have to put a towel there because it's too short,
I got
even with
you.
gloves on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So what I was when I wanted to do my podcast, I was thinking of when I thought of you, and I honestly think you're one of the most interesting men in the world. That's not a bullshit thing. We have a lot of similarities, I think, on one level. We like to write, direct, produce, but and create a lot of different things, and we're always doing things. But you go to another level. And I was even looking at Facebook now because we've been friends so long, but it looks like, I mean, even when I'm looking at your title here, adventurer, certified yogi now, Hall of Fame athlete, creative artist, human rights activist, you're a father, I mean, you're a great father. Like you do so many things, man. The energy level that you bring to what you do too. And I remember even the last time I saw you at my cousin's premiere in LA, Christian Pasquale, I think that was the last time we hooked up.
That's
And
it. Yeah.
you were even showing me some shows you were producing in LA.
Yeah.
And you just get shit done, right? Let's call it for what it is. How did this even?
You know,
Been something?
you nailed that on. I mean, that's what I am. I'm certainly a doer, not a talker.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I've gotten my ass kicked out here since coming back.
Yeah.
I had 5 really good reality shows under contract, and none of them got on TV.
Right.
Not one. And not because they weren't good. It's just the market is so tough. I mean, look, if I'm Mark Burnett, my show gets on like that, right?
Sure.
But I'm not. So that was hard to digest because I had some really grandiose happenings that I felt were going to come into place. The biggest thing I have right now is that one of my docs is being turned into a feature film. And that was the call I had at 10 today.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Well, God willing, but
yeah,
this kind of threw a monkey wrench into the timeline.
Okay.
Our goal is still September 1st in Georgia.
Gotcha.
But who knows? You know, I mean, we're still actively out there. We raised a little bit of money already to start the development process. I wrote the original script like 8 years ago on a whim. So we're reading writers now to rewrite me, and we're looking at directors as well right now in the faith-based realm. The problem I'm falling in with that is that I don't like the faith-based movies. I think they're corny and cheesy and over-proselytizing. Yet I want to keep the faith-based message in this movie.
Sure.
But I want to up the game in faith-based movies and have one that people just seculars go to and go, wow, I got so much out of that movie. That was amazing.
Right.
And there are 4 of us, and Sam Sokolow is one of my partners, and he's Jewish. So we're the 2 Jews. We've got Sheila Hawkins and Steve Camp, who are the 2 Gentiles. So we make a nice little team. We got the Old Testament and the New Testament going, you know?
That's cool.
Go ahead. Sorry. You want to?
No, that's awesome. I was, what's interesting is you've had an interesting path as far as going back and forth to LA. And I met you in Georgia, and they used to nickname you LA Rick, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Everybody in Georgia called me LA Ricky. That was on my license plate.
Yeah, and then because your past, you were actually in LA, then you went to Georgia. Now you're back in LA. So you've also done some. I mean, even your other documentary on baseball, that's unbelievable. If people haven't had it, you don't want to tell them what it is a little bit. I mean,
and again, Faded Glory. was
Is this
another one of
based
those
on that
things.
film, Rick? Rick, is this a spinoff off of that film? I'm sorry.
No. The Season of a
different.
Lifetime is the one that we're doing. The one about the coach with Lou Gehrig's.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually still playing. It's on Amazon Prime. You can see it.
Yes.
It's a great movie, 90 minutes. Fate of Glory, I made in 06 to 08, came out in 09, and I had a really big cult following with that film. Let me turn my phone down.
Yeah.
Had a really big cult following with that film. At one time, I had Angelo Pizzo and David Ansbaugh, the writer and director of Hoosiers and Rudy, attached to turn it into a feature film.
Wow.
Never got that made. And then years later, I had Robert Towne, who wrote The Natural, attached for
That's
a
awesome.
short time. Still never got it made.
Mm.
One day, someone like Bradley Cooper's going to come along and play me, and it's going to get made, and it'll win an Oscar because it's a fun movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you end up in this industry? Now, let's just kind of go back to the beginning. Were you in Georgia originally, or were you born in California and then kind of took that? Where were you originally?
New York City.
Oh,
I got started in this business in New York City.
See, I never knew that about you. I thought it was L.A., Georgia, L.A.
No, I was actually, I'm afraid to admit this to my New York fans, but I was actually born in Boston.
Oh, no. Sorry, I love Boston. Who doesn't? I got you.
I was born in Framingham, Massachusetts. My dad was there for 2 years for work. I happen to have been born there. We moved to Long Island in 1967, and that's where I grew up. Same home for 16 years growing up till I was 18.
Right.
And then I went to Penn.
Yeah, you went to University of Pennsylvania, right?
University of Pennsylvania. Played football. Was supposed to play baseball and wound up not playing baseball.
Okay.
Played on some really good Penn football teams with some famous directors now from that team. My best friend on the team was a guy named Gavin O'Connor, who just came out with The Way Back, the Ben Affleck basketball.
Yeah. Just previously. Yeah.
And he also did like Miracle Warrior, The Accountant, Pride and Glory. He's a big-time director.
Oh, that's great.
Timmy Chambers and Bo Zenger were two other guys on that team that were Hollywood directors. So I'm like the fourth director on that team, but I'm like on the low totem pole of the director hierarchy.
Right.
So I went back to New York after college, and I did a short stint at NYU Film School. Didn't really respond to it. That was the days, by the way, we were cutting and splicing film.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, editing through.
As you know, the Mark Simon days of directing or shooting 16 Candles and Breakfast Club and Risky Business and Ferris Bueller. I mean, wow. Like, first of all, that's a guy who should have been a big-time director by now. I never understood it.
He just followed his own path. I mean, I think he's always comfortable being behind the camera and doing whatever he does whenever he wants to do it with whoever he wants to do it with.
But I tried to get something started with Mark, and I wish he had, I want to say, the confidence at the time to really push through and do it. If he had brought me onto Fizz City early on, like I worked for Mark. Mark gave me my first job, production in the business.
I didn't know that.
I didn't even go from like PA to first AD. I went straight to first AD on a TV commercial. The funny story with that was we were in Celebration, Florida, in Orlando.
Mm-hmm. I'm there all the time. I'm still there all the time. Yeah, I know it well.
And we're I missed. And we're shooting a First Federal Bank commercial, and I made ink. Now, granted, Mark did the schedule, so I didn't have to go in and actually program, the schedule, but I just kept us on point with the shot lists and directed the extra people. An actor couldn't show up.
Mm.
and I was SAG. And Mark threw me into the commercial and
Made it work.
And made it work. And I was ADing, and I was in the commercial. A short time, but I was in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mark gave me my first job in the biz in production.
Right.
And then the second job I did for Mark, it didn't go well. It was a weird thing. It was on my birthday. And I was really distracted working on my birthday. I don't know. Mark, I guess he was disappointed in my effort. And I never got to work for Mark again. But we remained friends, and we tried to do a couple of things together. But I wish I had worked consistently for Mark.
Right.
Because I wish I had that production background that Mark could have given me.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, the knowledge, his knowledge of cameras and lighting.
I mean, I don't know. He's so talented on so many different levels.
Yeah. So all the stuff I did on the docks, I self-taught. So I learned how to use a camera on my own. Learned how to use Final Cut 7, which is obsolete nowadays. So I'm sort of obsolete. Tried to learn Premiere, and it's not that hard, but you have to commit to it.
Sure.
So, but I edited 7 films with Final Cut Pro 7. Yeah. I still have this 2005 computer. I know you can't see it.
There it is. Yeah.
And the only reason I keep this thing is for 2 reasons. One, it still plays Final Cut 7 because all my other ones won't.
Right.
And it still uses Quicken, which none of my other ones will anymore. So
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a relationship with your computer. Sometimes it's just hard to let go. You know what I mean?
I have 3 because I keep them.
Yeah.
You know, this one I also have like old photographs on because they take up a lot of files. So a lot of megabytes. I have like 10,000 photos on this one.
That's unbelievable. How did you become a certified yogi? Because I never knew that side of you. I only knew you as an athlete, baseball, football, your past, weightlifting, weight training. I don't remember you necessarily in or out of CrossFit, but it was weight training like myself. But when I saw that you're a yogi now, did that recently happen or?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. My big thing that I got into for about 3-4 years, which is the stuff I was shooting, was adventure racing. You know, the Spartan, Tough Mudder.
That's
and
right. That's awesome. That's right.
And then I got into death race. I was the second oldest person at that time to attempt to do death race, which is Joe DeSena's signature event that he does up in Pittsfield, Vermont. So that was my focus for like 3 or 4 years. I was doing a lot of the health and fitness, wellness, storytelling kind of thing.
Sure.
Where I was the guinea pig in most of them. So I was running. I had to be in super shape, and I would wear a camera and I was shooting.
Sure.
So from there, and I'm just trying to remember. Oh, the yoga. So my body has taken its toll.
Yeah, all of us.
Getting my ass kicked.
Yeah.
And in order to compensate on all the physical, mess that I was making my body into from this heavy duty adventure training and weight training, I took up yoga in 2011. So a long time ago, March 2011. And I started at Springs Yoga in Sandy Springs with David Ocamp and Ruth Ann Martin and married couple. And I stuck with it. My wife at the time, too, she was a yogi, and she kind of pushed me to try it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I was sold. When I moved to LA, I even upped my practice.
Right, because that's the...
Everybody here is like, first of all, yoga teachers are the waiters of LA.
Who doesn't do yoga, especially South Florida?
No, but
South California.
Got their certificate out here.
Exactly. It's like a real estate license in Florida. Everyone's got one.
Same here too. Yeah. So I was taking this one particular class on Saturdays from this guru named Joe Cara, and I was so impressed by his teaching methods and, his sequencing and the way he spoke and the message he delivered. I found out he was doing the 200 hours last year, which is Yoga Works' signature course. And I had a little bit of slot between September and Thanksgiving, and that's when this class was going to be. So they were jamming it into like 3 months to do your 200 hours. Plus, there's hours you have to do outside of the class too, which is and probably another 20 or 30 hours outside of the class with different teachers.
Right.
And I said, if I'm ever going to do it, if I'm ever going to spend the money, I got to do it now.
Yeah.
And I gave up watching college and pro football on Saturdays and Sundays to do it on the weekends.
Wow. You had to record those. Did you record the games at least?
Well, I got to see like the Sunday night football game, and I got to see Thursday night football game.
Of course.
But really, my Saturdays and Sundays, and because of the time difference, the game started 10. Like my classes started, they went from 12 to 7 on Saturdays and Sundays every weekend. Wow. So it's a big chunk. I would see the early football games, the first half of the early football games in the morning. Run to class. But I stuck with it, got my 200 hours. I have been practicing a lot lately because I'm planning on teaching eventually.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So
you're in awesome shape to do that. You know so much too, besides just yoga. Where's the Hall of Fame athlete aspect? Is that from, where did you like?
I'll show you.
Yeah. Show me. It's so funny.
Off the wall.
Here we go.
Oh, wait, hold on. Can you see it?
Not yet. Kick it up around. No.
No.
No, that's okay. Maybe.
Hold on a second. But wait.
Oh, there we go. There it was. That's a great photo.
That's my Hall of Fame plaque.
Yeah.
It says NABA 2006 Hall of Fame inductee. I was a unanimous first-time choice, 100%. So I played 30. At that time, I played 28 years. So I wound up playing 30 years exactly. And, winning a bunch of national championships as a player and a coach and a manager. And I got inducted in 2016. I'm also in my high school Hall of Fame, high school athletic Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
That was my 2. Hold on, I'm going to put this on the wall.
Yeah, of course.
So that's my claim to fame is I'm in 2 Hall of Fames.
What the hell? That's something. That's great, man. You are a go-getter. You never stop. It makes sense for someone like you.
I'm not going to say that I've slowed down, but I have slowed down considerably in the amount of things that I try to take on. I'm writing a book.
Nice. I've written a couple books. So
it's excerpts from my life. It's vignettes, short stories.
That's great.
But they all have ironic. All the chapters or the stories have ironic titles.
Mm-hmm.
I try to surprise you at the end of the story where you think you know where it's going, and then all of a sudden, I smack you in the face at the end. Not all of them, but most of them. So it's called Hurry Up and Wait.
Gotcha. That's funny.
Yeah. Which is basically the story of my life.
Yeah.
I need it now.
Yeah.
Here. And then I wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's unbelievable. I've written a couple books, but it's
I think I knew that.
It's a long endeavor. You know what I mean? It takes at least me, it took a lot longer than I ever thought it would. And even creating my second book, I thought, wow, now I got this down pat. It took me longer than the first one. So it's how much time and effort and what you put into it. It's like a screenplay to a certain degree. That's how I balanced writing. I was so exhausted from writing screenplays. I said, I want another writing outlet. So I started writing a book, which was a nice balance because I get exhausted on one, I'd go to the other.
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of like. Maybe you'll go through that as well because you're a writer. So
yeah, but not a novelist, and certainly not a book writer. I mean, as you know, screenwriting is very specific. I just went through a really horrible experience. Well, horrible is not really the word, but I optioned, or I talked to a writer that actually went to University of Pennsylvania, and I reached out to her. I was interested in reading her book. She sent me her book. I liked the book. I had a twist on the book, an idea to turn it into a series.
Okay.
And I sent her a writing sample of mine.
Okay.
She loved it. She's like, "You're the guy for this." We got together. I introduced her to a big producer, female producer, who was going to get this thing moved forward.
Okay.
And then I said, well, let's get together. Let's put together what the pilot's going to be, right? And I wanted her input. I wanted her expertise. And she's a very good writer. She does TED Talks too.
Okay.
So we got together and sort of outlined what the story was. The concept was mine, even though it was off of her book. The overall concept was different, and she was all for it.
Okay.
So as we get into the writing process, I'm thinking, she's never written a screenplay, and that's what I do.
Sure.
I'm thinking I'm going to write it. And when we start to work on it, she's like, well, I'll take a pass at writing the female parts, and you write the male parts, because those scenes are different in this series.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And she goes, but I don't know how to use the software. So I wound up teaching her how to use Final Draft, which is not really that hard. You can pretty much learn in an hour, right?
Right.
The basics of it.
Sure.
And the first draft that she sends me of her scenes is like a novel.
Right.
And obviously, I have to coach this woman. So I went through her scene and I said, look, you can't tell me what the actor is thinking in the directions. You can't do this. You can't. There's too much. There's no subtext here. It's too on the nose here. There's too much voiceover.
Right.
Lots of rookie mistakes.
Sure. Which is going to be
expected. By the way, I'm 30 years into writing and I'm still learning, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So the next 2 or 3 passes, it's just not working for me. Not only that, I'm writing, she's loving my scenes and I'm hating her scenes, and I'm having to be diplomatic about it and going, well, it's not quite there, blah, blah. So finally, I just go back to the producer. I write her a long email and I'm like, I can't do this way.
Mm-hmm.
You came to me. I set this whole thing up. This is what I do professionally. If I came to you with a book idea, I wouldn't say I want to write the book with you.
Sure.
You got to let me go off and do this on my own. Didn't hear from her. Didn't respond to my email. Talked to the producer that I set us up with. And I said, you need to talk to her because she hasn't responded, and I'd like to continue because it's a good idea.
Sure.
So I get a text back from the producer saying, so-and-so says, go ahead, take your shot.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, all right, fine. And then I wrote her again. I said, well, look, I still want your help. I still need your input, blah, blah, blah. No response.
Mm-hmm.
2 days later, and her agent, by the way, is a CAA agent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Finoker. I don't care if I said his name.
I was going to say, here we go.
Sent me a douchebaggy email on a Sunday during this whole mess.
Yeah.
Telling me, you don't have the rights to this book and you shouldn't be continuing writing it, and don't market yourself as the writer on this thing. Completely out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even respond. I sent a note to the producer, my friend, and I said, well, what did you tell this guy? She says, nothing, it was a bad situation. I never even reached back to the writer again, completely removed myself from it. And I put all this effort into it. Sure. And helped this woman. At least, 'cause no one was doing anything with her book at the time.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. I could tell you at least 10 stories like this.
It's a brutal industry in Hollywood.
Brutal.
Okay.
And 10 different variations of the same story where you try to do some good, you try to be professional, and someone else can't be professional, and they let emotions get in the way.
There's so many components. You know what I mean? It takes so much after. It's a big puzzle. And a lot of times it just does not, most of the times it just does not come together.
No.
It's almost like a puzzle that you don't know what the picture is. You know what I mean? Like it gets so confusing.
Hey, my place was freezing. Let me turn the heat off real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead, my man.
I think so, because then I got the wool hat on too, or at least this one.
You're so funny.
I know. See, this is a good problem to have, right?
You still got hair. It's always been great hair.
Yeah.
It's always nice hair. Who was that actor once you took a picture next to, both of you, with your hair?
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, both of you. That was
I said that on my show a couple of days ago. I said I have Josh Brolin hair. Or if you remember Clint Eastwood's hair in the 70s.
Yeah, for sure.
When he used to have like really great kind of wavy hair.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. Anyway.
Well.
So what else, my friend?
What do you think? I mean, we're not going to get caught up. I don't want to get caught up with the negativity of Corona and all this stuff. You've lived in Georgia, which is quite interesting because what I found interesting with you is you were in Georgia at the beginning before this explosion, really, of what's come. And then you came to LA, and I went to California as well when we thought that was kind of, going on. And now that you're in California, are you considering going back to Georgia because there's so much more? Not that there's more being done than LA, that's ridiculous. But there's so much being done there. Like, did you kind of regret that, or did you consider going back? Just ask.
Well, I'm shooting in Georgia this season of Lifetime. The locations are all locations.
Gotcha.
So, if everything works out, I'll be back in Georgia in August in pre-production. Okay. Having to actually live there for 3 or 4 months again. Yeah. So, and that'll be seamless for me. I mean, I go back. My kids are gone from there now because they're grown-ups and they've moved out of state as well.
Okay.
Both my ex-wives still live there.
Yeah.
One of my ex-wives is my best friend, and I usually stay with her when I go.
Sure.
And I just have hundreds of friends there and no production people there. So going back for a while will be seamless for me.
Right.
Just kind of like how it was when I was living in Atlanta and would come back to LA after having lived in LA for 10 years.
Right.
Right. I would come back to LA 3-4 times a year periodically for business. So
do you regret leaving Georgia now? Because you would have been there in its infancy, or do you like being in LA now for sure?
No, I needed to be here. I needed to test the waters and see, because the nature of the business has completely changed since I moved. I mean, the streaming networks were not what they are now.
Of course.
I left right at the start of 2015, and I think that was the big year of the twist.
Yeah.
Of the format twist in the business.
Right.
Yeah, when things really started to all go streaming and they were actually up for Oscars and Emmys from the streaming networks, which, 5 years before that would have been unthinkable.
No way.
Unthinkable.
Right. That's insane. Right.
I know. And the studios now, they're only doing tentpole movies. They will not do smart independent features. I mentioned Gavin O'Connor. He did The Way Back.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin made that film for $25 million, which is low as a studio standard film with Ben Affleck in it. And he said to me, and I had a conversation with him afterwards, it did $10 million on its opening weekend, and then the coronavirus shut everything down.
Yep. And
so they're selling it now on Amazon for $20. They're trying to make their money back that way. But he said, you know what? This is going to kill that kind of a movie. They're never going to – these studios are not going to do these movies anymore.
Yeah.
They're only going to do the Marvel Comics, the Lord of the Rings, the Avengers,
DC.
A big giant rom-com with some big names in it. They're just not going to do these smart, sophisticated, independent movies anymore.
Yeah.
With the budgets of 15 to 25 million because they can't make their money back on it. So
how did you When you went to California, which kind of shocked me, you were always more scripted. And how did you jump into that?
The doc world or the
No,
reality
the
world?
reality stuff. Because I knew you were making docs. You went from kind of scripted to documentaries, and then you were all of a sudden in
Went into reality.
reality
Because
shows.
I could shoot and edit, and I met a guy in Atlanta who was doing that. He had a hit show. I can say his name, Adam Brett, good buddy of mine. He had a hit show on the DIY network called Megadens, he and his wife. And I developed we became partners on the reality stuff. And I developed like 10 shows with
You had
Adam.
some really interesting shows. I was watching.
We had great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And they're all on my website. If you go to my website, you can see the work that we did. You watch it. You watch the trailers, and they're professionally done, and they're great concepts and good ideas that just didn't sell.
Yeah, they just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, Bionic Boss was probably my biggest one. Mm-hmm. That was the prosthetic facility in Hicksville, Long Island.
Yeah.
That one was a great idea. She Can Do It, which was my take on dirty jobs for women. You know, so I had this great Mike Rowe type host named
I remember that trailer. Yeah.
That was an amazing show. This was fantastic. We had a deal with Chippendales, and we were going to bring back the guys.
Yeah, I love that idea.
To try and get in shape and do a show because, you know, it was sort of a play of the Full Monty and Magic Mike had come out.
Yep.
And so Chippendales was being popular. So I contracted 7 guys.
Yeah. And
we were going to produce this show. Well, originally it was called Cuffs and Collars, which I thought was really kind of cool name to it. And then I did another show when that didn't work out because Chippendales became difficult. That was called Hollywood Men. That was just about one of the Chippendale guys who owns his own strip club, nightclub, and it was about his crazy life. And, you know, he does that on the weekends, and he comes home to his wife, who's an insurance salesman, and he's like he's Mr. Mom during the week and doing grocery chores and, you know, picking the kids up from school and stuff. And he's got this, you know, regular home ec life outside of the strip club, you know, on the weekends. And that one we couldn't get going. I mean, God, there's so many
cool stuff. And that dude, one of the dudes was like the face of the Chippendales, wasn't he at one time? Like the main poster, right?
Yeah, Michael Rapp.
Yeah, Michael Rapp. That's right.
And Scott Lane. Scott Lane was the one that I tried to do the show called Hollywood Men. That trailer's on there too. There's some other really good ones that I had. I had Weekend Warriors. That was the Boston Tackle Football League, an amateur tackle football league.
That's awesome.
You know that Aaron Hernandez story, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, so the guy that Aaron Hernandez killed was a football player in that league.
Oh, really?
And we were following that specific team because they were like honoring the season for him. They couldn't get that one across the board.
That sucks. When you were going through that, who were you hitting up? At that point in time, I mean, are you going after like those shows are obviously a little risque at times. So are you going after, what is it? Like I don't
we
even
had
know.
Adam was really great. I was more the bootstrap guy shooting and editing. And Adam was more of like the business side along with ideas as well. Because he's a brilliant reality producer.
Right.
And so together we worked as a team really well. Like I would do cuts and I would send it to Adam and he would give me his opinions on things. He is working right now on a documentary that was supposed to be a reality show and that we put together in 2013 or 14 called Amazon 5000. It's a true story about this Israeli Krav Maga special forces guy who's like in his 60s who takes 2 bumbling idiot young guys with him on a trip across the Amazon jungle on foot for 5,000 miles. And it is the nuttiest, craziest stuff. And we couldn't sell it for one reason. The guy was so difficult to work with.
Yeah, that happens with a lot of these people.
I know. He got really in his head that he wanted to have control and produce, and we almost sold it to Nat Geo.
Okay.
Yeah, we were going to cut it into a series. And then I removed myself from it. I couldn't deal with him anymore. He was just that difficult. Adam was much better at dealing with him than I was. And 6 years later, this happened a month ago. I got a check in the mail. They're moving forward to try and to put it into a documentary form. And they had to pay me because I'm a consulting producer on it now.
Oh, wow.
Apparently. So I made money doing nothing.
Gotcha.
So they're cutting it right now. And that's on my site. You can see the original trailer that I made.
That's awesome. Yeah, you never know.
I don't have corona, by the way. I'm just clearing my throat.
You never know what reality television. Who would think Duck Dynasty, or who would think, whatever's going to be a big hit?
You don't know.
It's hit or miss. It could be Orange County Choppers, or it could be something.
Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo. Right, exactly. And then now they got a spin-off Honey Boo Boo, right?
Yeah. Who'd have thought Tiger King would be the phenomenon?
You never know, man. It's lightning in a bottle with that stuff.
No. And if you break down Tiger King to its, smallest form, it's basically a docuseries about animal abuse, right? And yet,
absolutely,
and yet no one is, there are animal activists throwing their arms up at it, and all people can talk about is, did Carol Baskin kill her husband and feed him to the tigers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, did you see the Tony the Tiger meme?
No, but
Carol Baskin's husband tastes great. You never seen that?
I haven't seen that one yet. And I'm in that area all the time because my girlfriend oversees a Sephora store right near there. And I never even knew that existed. It was quite interesting, that show. Anyways.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Oh, that's hilarious.
Carol's husband tastes great.
Unbelievable. You never know. Who would have expected that?
Crazy.
Unbelievable. You are all over the place, man. Well, good luck.
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
I'm doing
the YouTube podcasts. I've been traveling a lot the last 5 years. I've been doing Matterports for like luxury retail brands. I don't even know if you know what a Matterport camera is. It's basically the same as
Steadicam.
It's just a camera I put on a tripod. It spins. It does a 360.
Ooh,
kind of like Google Maps, kind of, but I kind of bring a blueprint to life, I guess you could say. So a lot of stores want to know what the exterior, the interior, the back of the house, the restrooms, dressing rooms, they all look like. So I scan the exterior and the entire inside of the store, and then they have that document, and they can scroll through it as if they were actually there, just like Google.
I like it. It's good business.
It's pretty, So I work with a maintenance facility company, Resicom, who's amazing. So I've been very fortunate to go to all different stores and do that for them. And what they love it for many. Some use it for their websites. Some use it for maintenance and facility as well. So they also will always have a documentation of what their store looks like. If it gets destroyed, they move locations. Or if, say, you want to build another one, they'll show who's ever doing the construction. It's not just a blueprint. So it's an amazing tool.
So here's the difference between you and I. You know how to monetize yourself. Me, I do all this work and make a little bit of money and don't monetize myself to my fullest,
I go all over the place if you really look at me, though, but because I'll go from like a book to creating an app to doing YouTube, doing a podcast to doing – I kind of go with whatever I feel like, but I know what you're saying. I've been able to structure that. Me and you have that thing where we just almost have to, sometimes when we can't handle things stopping from a creative point either. No. It's almost like a madness.
No, and we don't like structure. That's the other thing.
There you go. 100%. Yeah. I don't like being.
Tell me I got to be in at 8:00 and I got to leave at 5. That doesn't work for me. I never has.
No, I'm good with catching flights, and because it's an adventure. That's how I look at my life has to be an adventure.
Yeah.
You
Where
can't.
are you living, by the way? What city?
I live in Orlando, Florida.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I was living in San Diego for a while. I was there for like, I don't even know, 5, 6 years. But my kids are here, and I grew up here in Orlando, besides Chicago. So I was always coming back
Oh, I
and
didn't
forth.
know that.
Yeah.
My son works for the Florida Panthers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's down in Fort Lauderdale, and he's fortunate because he has a job, and they're paying him still
Yeah.
because it's a sports franchise. They're not going under. They haven't let anybody go. And the owner came out and said, "You guys are okay. I'm going to pay you guys." So my son's working from home. It's not really much to do. You can't sell tickets.
Sure.
You can't sell sponsorships. Like, you can't sell luxury suites. There's no concerts either, so the BB&T Center is empty.
Yep.
And yeah, but he comes up to Orlando occasionally. Takes
Yeah.
a drive up there. If you're ever down
I'm
in
down
that
there
area
all the time.
when this thing blows over,
Yeah.
and you either want to go to an event at BB&T Center or
For sure.
hockey, let me know. And
Yeah.
then my daughter's in New York. She's been stuck.
Oh, really? She in Manhattan? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
How's she doing?
Well as you can be. She's not sick.
Right.
So, but she's stuck in her apartment. She lost her college graduation this year.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Which means I lost it because I was going to New York May 19th
Yeah.
for her graduation. So I won't have that memory of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. It's hard. It's hard. This is.
Yeah. 4 years of school, 5 years for her. She took a gap year. If she didn't take the gap year, she'd have been graduated already. And you can second guess all you want, but these seniors in high school and in college, at least the seniors in high school still have their college graduations to look forward to.
Right.
But the seniors in college and the senior athletes
Oh, yeah.
aren't getting another season. The Ivy Leagues where I went, they said, "Sorry, we're not granting you another year of eligibility."
Yeah, I heard about that.
Some schools are, and some schools aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that on Pardon the Interruption with Tony Kornheiser and Michael.
Yeah.
And they were.
Tony went to my high school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Tony,
he's from Long Island, right? Yeah, he's a Long Island guy.
Tony's an original Hewlett High School kid because I think the school opened up in 1962. And I think Tony was like an original
graduate
Hewlett High School person.
Yeah.
I don't know if he graduated that year, but I think he was in high school in 62 and graduated, I think, in 65 or something. But yeah, but we had a couple of famous people come out of my high school. Ed Burns, the actor Ed Burns.
Sure.
From Private Ryan.
Yeah, yeah.
He went there. Wendy Wasserman, the famous playwright.
Right.
Alan Zweibel, the original head writer on Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
Yeah. Gene Mayer, great tennis player. What?
Oh, yeah. I was in my high school, St. Joe's was Isaiah Thomas came from. And,
Isaiah
the
Thomas.
documentary.
Hoop Dreams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I graduated and they started filming that. Like they were talking about it. Right. So, anyways, it's kind of our.
Have you seen the kid today? I mean, he's like real grown up. I forget what he was doing something. They were filming him for something.
Oh, no. I know both of them. Which one? I've seen the one that they threw out, actually, that ended up going to the public school. I think that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because, he was doing something. I've seen him on ESPN doing, I don't know if he's coaching in Chicago or
doing something.
I think when I was in Chicago, I saw something on him.
Right.
Yeah.
Hoop Dreams was the inspiration for me to go and do these sports documentaries.
Really?
Because no one had really done it that way. I mean, when I was growing up, the greatest things were those Olympic documentaries that would come out every 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That was the one thing that you got. ESPN wasn't doing docuseries.
30 for 30. None of that.
No, there wasn't a lot of sports in documentaries, and no one really went and watched a documentary.
Yeah.
Then Hoop Dreams came out, and everybody said, wow, this is a great format. I love this. And I remember seeing it myself. And 10 years later, I went on my own trek.
Yeah, and I think that took them. Maybe I'm misquoting us, 7 to 10 years to make that film. That was it. Like people think they just followed them for 4 years, but I think pre-production all the way to post was 7 to 10 years, something crazy. Those guys.
Yeah, it was at least that. Faded Glory for me, I started originally in the beginning of 06 with a different idea, completely different idea. I was just going to do an expose on amateur baseball, which would have been boring. And I shot a whole season, spent all this money, raised this money and spent this money, and looked at the stuff and I said, this sucks. I don't have a story.
Gotcha.
Got a lot of good footage, don't have a story. What's my story? And then I was like, I am the story. And buddy of mine, Pat Armstrong, kind of suggested that to me. He's like, yeah, well, you should do it more, make it more personal about you. And then that was when I brought my team back together and I went on this sort of, what was the movie with John Travolta and the guy from Tim Allen?
With the motorcycles?
Yes.
That one? What the hell was that? I'd have to look that up. With the motorcycles guys. Yeah.
Wild Hogs.
Wild Hog. Martin Lawrence.
Yeah. Right. So I went on my own little Wild Hogs adventure and followed myself trying to find these guys and where they were 17 years later. And one was like in jail. One was at the Betty Ford Clinic. One was dying of cancer, like all these different things.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh my God, the story's telling itself. And when I put it all together, it was just magic. Honestly, it was
great.
You have, as I say, for documentary filmmaking, you have to capture lightning in a bottle. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Okay? So if the cameras are not on, I tell people the ratio of footage to usage is like 200 to 1.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like
you
shoot 200 hours to get 1 hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I probably shot that much. Like my second doc season of Lifetime, because I shot every football game that season. It was 11 football games and preseason that I shot. And I had 5 or 6 cameras at the game. So I had all that footage from each camera to cut games with. Yeah, I had
it's a lot.
400 or 500 hours of footage.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and by the way, I organized it and managed it all myself.
Yeah,
and that was a chore amongst chores.
I believe it, my friend. Mm-hmm. You conquered it. You did it. You get shit done. Like I said, you get it accomplished.
When I set my mind to something, I get shit done.
Yeah.
My problem has been not execution, not effort. Monetization.
Yep.
Is that the word? Monetization.
Yeah, that's right. Monetize.
I've made money and enough money to live and to have an okay life, but not the success where I have the beach house in Malibu. Right. So that's why I'm going to go move to Sedona and have the little cabin in the mountain in Sedona. I'll be fine with that.
I like your style. I like it. What the hell?
What the hell? What the hell?
What the hell? What do you got to lose?
This was fun, man.
This was awesome. Thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah. Were you taping this?
Hell yeah. I recorded the whole damn thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was saying at the beginning, I catch people, I want to catch them right off the bat, because sometimes they'll talk for 5-10 minutes about what we're going to do, and then we forget about it, or it's just so much more exciting, I think, from the get-go.
Yeah.
And
I've done at least 50 TV and radio interviews.
Yeah.
Forget about this Facebook Live stuff that I do and all that.
Yeah, I like that. I see that. I saw it today.
Yeah.
So
I'm comfortable talking and coming up with subject matter, and I have 1,000 stories. That's why I'm writing this book, because I have 1,000 crazy stories about stuff that happened in my life that people just would be like, look, I sat down, I had a sit-down meal and discussion with Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
two. He had his girlfriend / aide with him, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and it was the four of us for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
I
when do
saw
you
the
get
photo.
a sit down?
Yeah, I saw that photo.
Yeah. When do you get that sit down? Where the point was, I was like hugging him and putting my arms around him. There's that movie Zelig, and I have a friend who calls me Zelig, and it's the Woody Allen film where Zelig just seems to wind up in all these different situations in different places with celebrities, and things are happening around. It's kind of the Forrest Gump type story, and I just had funny stuff happen to me, and
you fall into stuff.
I fall into it. It follows me.
Yeah, but you're always a go-getter, man. You're always going. So you attend. You're going to be in the game.
Right.
You are the dude.
And again, that Quincy thing wouldn't happen if I didn't just go and walk over. I was at an event. He was mentoring a friend of mine's daughter who was a concert pianist who then became a pop star.
Right.
And I was at this little club, jazz club up on the top of Mulholland. And I walked over, introduced myself, and then pulled the chair up. And that was it. The next thing I know, I'm eating dinner with him, having drinks with him, getting his viewpoint on life.
And he's a legend.
And that's happened to me a bunch of times. But you don't make it happen if you don't be aggressive. And
not at all. And you got balls, and you got you're just a great person to have a conversation with too. Comfortable. You're hilarious. You got it all going on.
Yeah. My daughter she goes like this.
So do mine. Mine both go like that.
Yeah. No, my son thinks it's cool. My son wants what? Can I meet him? I'm like, yeah. But my daughter just goes, oh my God, I can't believe you, Dad. You're such an embarrassment.
That's who we are.
I know.
It is what it is, my friend. All right, we got to do this again. I want to do some follow-up stuff with you if you could, brother.
Yeah.
So I'm outside right now. I got motorcycles. I got everybody in the house. So people are like, is that a real backdrop? So I'm like, there's that.
Well, if I go to Orlando, I'm coming to visit, man.
For sure, man. I'm always in Lauderdale, but I'm usually in and out in a day or so. But I do have family members that have condos there, Boca, Pompano.
My parents are in Boca.
Fort Lauderdale. And Deerfield. I have a lot of family there as well still. So
I'm there every Thanksgiving. That's the one holiday that I'm always in Florida. Last 35 years.
I used to do that when I was a younger boy. My family would do Thanksgiving in Florida.
The question is, Foles or Trubinsky?
I don't even know. Jeez. I think they're going to I think they're going to start with Trubinsky, honestly. I think they'll start there, and then maybe I would think they would do that, not to shuffle.
He's the younger talent. He's got legs. He can run.
Yeah.
Foles, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Weird sign.
I think he'd break his back. Trubisky would feel, I think he'd want out immediately if he went the last couple seasons starting, and then all of a sudden you have him starting, in my opinion. That's just what I think.
So did you see my thing this morning on the XFL? 21 cities requested a franchise for the XFL for the spring next year.
Oh, I didn't finish the whole thing. I only saw the beginning when you were talking.
Which is a telling sign that the NFL season could be in trouble if 21 other cities are going, oh, I want to get in on this spring football.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Season. I know.
Well, your Yankees. You got your Yankees coming up, man. I got the Cubs. That's who knows.
Baseball season is in trouble. My son, the Panthers were right there on the cusp of making the playoffs this year after having some tough years.
Yeah.
Next year, the NHL All-Star Game is in Florida at BB&T Center. Oh. So my son gets to work that. He just got promoted too, so that's going to be a big thing for him, the All-Star Game.
That'll be huge, I think.
Yeah, in South Florida. Hockey coming to South Florida.
I'm in Canada so often. I'm literally there probably. Well, I was there. I'm not traveling now, but I'm there a lot. So.
Well, next end of January, NHL All-Star Game.
Yeah, that's awesome. How many people from the north are going to be coming to see that to just get an opportunity to be in Florida? A lot of people.
I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, and a lot of Canadians live here. Like, there's so many snowbirds in Orlando, South Florida, Jacksonville.
The Torontoians. What? How do you say the Torontons? How do you say the?
I don't know.
If you're from Toronto, what do you call yourself?
I don't know what they call themselves. And one of my closest buddies from there, I don't know that word.
A Torontoian, a Toronton, or Toronton?
I never heard it like that. A maple leaf.
A maple leaf. Right, because like if you're from Montreal, you're Canadian. You're just basically Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah. Vancouverite. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know those nicknames over there, and I'm there quite often. They don't call themselves anything like that. It is so. It's all, if you know, it's all hockey, and then I would say next is baseball. I can't say base. It's baseball and now basketball since they won a title. But the whole city, the whole country almost revolves around Toronto, right?
And the Raptors are the reigning NBA champs.
Yeah,
and they're going to be because there's no NBA season. I don't see them coming back.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays, it's the Blue Jays, the Raptors, and hockey, and then they all separate. It kind of reminds me of Chicago with the Bears. You have the South Side and North Side where they hate the Sox, you hate the Cubs, but when the Bears play, everybody loves everybody. That's Toronto. If you're in Edmonton, you're in Edmonton. If you're in, Montreal, you're this. You're in Toronto, you're this. But then when the basketball and the baseball comes in, the whole country comes together.
Yeah, because there's only one team in that sport.
Yeah.
There used to be that Vancouver basketball team, the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and the Expos too, remember? That's gone.
Well, that was really long time ago. But I'm saying Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And they're not around anymore.
No, and I'm there quite often. I think Vancouver's going to eventually get something. There's so much wealth there. They're not too far from Seattle and the West Coast. So,
okay. All right, brother.
I know you got other shit to do.
This is my daughter. She says, I just got a call from from unemployment telling me I don't need to call anymore and my claim will be filed. I guess my daughter's as persistent as I am, right?
Well, for her.
This is after calling every day and not even getting to a menu. So I guess they know where people are calling from and they're tracking.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, I wish her all the best, your son. And when you get to Florida, when I'm in Cali, I'll hit you up for sure, brother.
Yeah. And if seriously, if you go down there and things are back to normal again, go check out my boy.
I will, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks again, Rick. Seriously.
Hey, namaste, my friend.
You too. All right. Take care.
Take it easy, brother.